lucky to have a real business mogul here. She's an incredible person. When I tell you she's a CPA, she's also a chartered financial consultant, she's also trained as a lawyer. She also has an MBA. I don't know if I ever met anyone with as many degrees and certificates, and that's not all you have. She's been named one of the 50 most powerful women in New York City business, but that really doesn't begin to explain Vikki Pryor. I mean, she has her business credentials that are astonishing. When she arrived she's the president and CEO of SBLI USA Mutual Life Insurance Company. When she arrived, it had been in a long decline. Actually, I think someone should write an article about when women get positions of power, it's often in a company where men have failed.
Or something like that.
No, where someone's failed.
Where someone has failed. Where there's an opportunity to rise from the ashes. And indeed she did. She reversed the decline, and for the first 10 years after she joined, there was an 8% per year growth, just completely reversing the trend. And she did this while turning the company into one of the most admired companies in terms of being a really humane place to work. You know, maybe there's a connection there somewhere. But there also are amazing dimensions to Vikki Pryor because she leads a balanced life, and she has all kinds of interests and attributes. I was really interested to know, for example, that she's a great admirer of Denmark and is a fluent Danish speaker. She spent a year living there as an exchange student. She's also a product of the SUNY system. She got her bachelor's degree and then her law degree from SUNY Buffalo, and she gives back to the community in so many ways. She's on the board or the council for the law school at SUNY Buffalo, but she's also been on the board of the Girl Scouts and many, many causes, many business circles, networks to really help all kinds of people enter business and achieve success. She's just a good-hearted person, and in a moment in transition in my life when I went from becoming someone who worked in environmental conservation to being a dean, she thoughtfully sent me a book about changes in life. So just one of the finest people you'll ever meet, and you're getting to hear her talk tonight. So Vikki.
Thank you, Mary. Do you want me to stand there or here? At the table, okay. I follow orders well. That's the key to success in life. I'm glad we have a small group so we can actually have more of a conversation. I do have prepared remarks because anytime I get in front of a group of very smart people, I want to make sure I'm prepared. And that's one thing that's important in life. I want to thank Mary Pearl, my friend and your dean, for her leadership. And she arranged a nice dinner for us before the talk with some of the community leaders and leaders here on campus. And I was sharing with them how important the work you are doing here at this campus, and how you are really going to be the leaders and the visionaries, not just in the sustainability movement or model, but in where our world is going to go. This is really the foundation of our future. So I'm really honored and humbled to come and talk to you today. And I know that I'm among visionaries. I like to tell people that I'm not really very smart. I'm just a hard worker. So as a hard worker, I really want to get my definition straight before I start anything. So I thought a bit about what sustainability really means when I was preparing today, and I found what I found to be some intriguing definitions. And the definitions really almost explain why we don't have more people involved in and embracing this notion of sustainability. It's an important part of everything we do, and it's an important part of my commitment in running the company that I run, which is an insurance company. So I'm going to share this definition. You probably know better than I do, but it's what I'm working from. The word sustainability is derived from the Latin sustenere, which is to hold, to maintain, and to support. Sustainable development means development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. In ecology, the word describes how biological systems remain diverse and productive over time. For humans, it is the potential for long-term maintenance of well-being, which in turn depends on the well-being of the natural world and the responsible use of natural resources. Most people, I believe, don't think about the issue of sustainability and how it applies to them in their daily life. I'm sure you'll agree to that because this is what you do. You chose to come to a campus whose focus is sustainability, and perhaps people aren't quite sure why you're here or why you chose that. But when you look at the fact that our well-being is central, it's clear that our economic future, and that includes my insurance industry, are important parts of our well-being and ensuring a sustainable infrastructure. I know here, I read a little bit about your campus here at Stony Brook. Sustainability is about a lot of things. It's not just an abstract concept that you're learning in textbooks, but you live it and you breathe it here on this campus. I saw your green library that you just opened with the geothermal heat, and Dean Pearl told me about that. I know you have a greenhouse, an organic garden, and we had, I think, a salad from some of that at dinner tonight. To the electric cars that are driven here by the ground staff. So I applaud you for your efforts and your vision in helping to create a sustainable world starting right at this campus. At our core, though, even though many people don't think about sustainability, we really all believe in it because at its core is our basic drive to survive. Every human being, from the minute we're born to the minute we leave the world, most humans are fighting to survive. They don't put the word sustainability on it, but it's in our DNA. We naturally do the things that will sustain our future if we have the right tools, we have the right access, and we know. And that's what this campus is about. It's about giving you the tools and the education so that you will know how to do that, and so you'll spread the word. With advances in technology and communication, our actions and our motives often take us away from the most basic steps we need to ensure our fundamental survival. And for many of you who are students or faculty here, you probably know they're basic, but we've gotten away from that as a society. And unfortunately, the recent economic meltdown in our economy demonstrates that our systems and processes are not aligned to create an infrastructure that develops and nurtures the most sustainable environment for all of our inhabitants here on Earth. Fundamentally, we lost sight of the fact that the environment and the economy are inextricably linked. They really, really are. There have been developments over time with individuals who've tried to raise this issue, tried to say that our economy's not heading in the right direction, we're not doing good things for the environment, and therefore it's not good for people. Some of those things have been, those cries have been met with success, some haven't. But hopefully we can get something from our current global economic crisis and the growing sustainability movement of which you all are a part. And those two things will intersect to put us on the right track. I've always been someone who thought it was important to preserve our environment. But for most of my life, I never fully understood the importance of every aspect of our infrastructure assessing itself against the sustainability lens. And I'm going to say that again. The importance of every aspect of our infrastructure assessing itself against the sustainability lens. Insurance is an integral part of this sustainability model. It's central to our ability to take risk. And without a method to support risk and to encourage risk-taking, we won't have a business, we won't have the infrastructure that we have. So I'm going to start with a historical example that has nothing to do with insurance, but insurance actually touches everything we do, and you'll find that insurance has been front and center in providing the risk coverage and management that allows many industries to grow and thrive. Wherever you find new industries and lots of risk, you will find insurance. So you're going to find, if you're a student here now and you're thinking about your career and how this is going to link up, you're going to find you'll need to know about insurance. You'll need to understand risk management. It's going to be a very important part of whatever you undertake. The coal mining industry is a great example. Coal was first mined in America in the early 1700s, and it was an economic boom at the time, but it brought a lot of devastation to the environment and to our country's workforce. a lot of improvements. Coal mining is still going on, as I'm sure you all know. While improvements have been made, it's still the second most dangerous occupation in America. In the United States, the increase in technology has significantly decreased the mining workforce from 335 coal miners to 7,200 miners today. Now that sounds like we've really, really shrunk down, but the reality is there's been an 83% increase in production in coal mines from 1970 to 2004. So this is an industry that the insurance industry, for example, has insured the risks associated with this industry over many, many generations from its inception to where we are today. So risk management can play a role in helping an industry like this do the right things. And if you begin to take what you learn here out into the marketplace and figure out how to apply not only the sustainability lens, but the risk management lens, you're going to find that you will accomplish more against your overall objective, which is building a more sustainable world. It's important to take into account risk. Our business industries have benefits in both economic and social terms, and sometimes, you know, when I was a young student like you, I was very idealistic. I was very anti-business. I can't even tell you how surprised I am that I'm running an insurance company. There's no way when I was sitting in the chair that you're in that I would think that I would be in the establishment running an insurance company. But what I've come to learn is what I do, and most business has a benefit that's both not only economic but social. And we all know that our business environment has been in unprecedented turbulence in the past several years, including a period of crisis caused by economic dislocations, amplified by worldwide terrorism, weather catastrophes, effects of pollution, poverty, health eccidents, and wars, just to name a few. Things remain very fragile in our world, and it's not just the ecosystem that is our environment, our oceans. We have a fragile environment in general. In general, it's an extremely dynamic and a highly volatile commercial environment. Businesses facing significant sustainability risks, social, environmental, operational, strategic, financial, while having an enormous impact on the overall sustainability of our planet. So the challenge for business is figuring out how to positively impact the environment while growing the value of your enterprise and creating socioeconomic value to local communities. The challenge on the individual level is to provide for daily living while achieving personal goals and doing so in a way that is friendly to our planet. Insurance plays a very critical role in helping both businesses and individuals achieve these objectives. This kind of planning and thinking about sustainability requires us to think systematically. I first began thinking in this systematic way shortly after I took my role at SBLI in 1999. And the reason I took the position, I had a much bigger job before I took this job, but I took it because I saw an opportunity to really act on my lifelong commitment to help others advance, improve, and achieve a fulfilling, rewarding, and sustainable lifestyle. I come from a very modest background and wanted to figure out how to use whatever talent, skill, ability, energy that I have to make sure that people perhaps didn't have the struggles that I had. And so this was a great opportunity in my mind to sit at the top of a company and figure out how, as a business person, to really make a contribution to a sustainable world. And I never thought that that part of our infrastructure was so important to our ecosystem, but it really is important. I'll tell you a little bit about our company so you understand that. Our company serves the basic life insurance needs of about 300,000 individuals. Most of the people who buy insurance from us have a family income between $25,000 and $100,000. And on the surface you say, okay, insurance, a lot of times young people don't understand what the real value of life insurance is, but you really would see it if you came to our company and walked in the halls, or if you listened to our telephone calls, because The coverage that we provide translates into helping thousands of families at a time of loss remain out of poverty, stay in their home, send their children to college, and generally remain productive members of society. And personally, I think productive members of society are one of the most important components of a sustainable environment. In addition, we have a $1.4 billion investment portfolio. And what we do with that is we take those dollars and we put them to work back in the economy in ways that we believe are productive. We have certain regulatory limitations on what we can do with our investment portfolio, but within those limits, we invest in things like affordable housing. So we try to take those dollars and make a real difference, again, to that sustainable world. And so thinking systematically about things, about every part of our system, is really important. When I came to my company, I really understood deeply that unless working families and the communities in which they work, play, and raise their families were changed to create greater access to our economy, we'd continue to lose the richest and most important asset that we have, and that is our human potential. Before I took the job, I understood that insurance played an important role for businesses and the lives of families. But I didn't really truly understand it until I was at the helm of the company. And as I mentioned to you earlier, that you would hear if you came to our halls, until I got there to hear the stories about how our products made a profound difference in the daily lives of many people. I didn't understand that our products helped our customers manage the risks that they face in life so that they could actually more fully pursue the activities of daily living, including their work, their home, their community, their places of worship, and most of all, their children and the families they were raising. Seeing for the first time at the baseline of our economy the power of insurance helped the proverbial light bulb come on for me. I now understood that insurance permits us to take risk, encourages us to abate risks, serve as a form of measurement of both risk-taking and sustainability, and helps us to constantly reevaluate from a public policy standpoint what kind of risk we want to encourage and reward by insuring them. So you can do all the things that you do here to champion models of sustainability. But if the infrastructure that you're working in, from a public policy standpoint, the laws, the taxes, if all those systems, the insurance, if all of that doesn't work in a way to integrate, your work's going to be lost. And that's really been the challenge of this industry historically, is to overcome the current infrastructure and the current regulatory environment to push these issues forward. So it's really important. I know I was sitting next to the dean of the business school, and he was telling me that you have 50 students here who are business students on a sustainability campus. I can't tell you, if any of you are in that school, how important your role is going to be to look at the whole system in business and figure out how it can help transform and move this movement in the right direction. So I'll give you some examples if you don't quite get what I'm trying to say. How many of you would drive your car from this event today if you didn't have insurance? How comfortable would you feel out on the road if nobody had insurance? If you don't own a car, how comfortable would you feel crossing the street knowing that none of the drivers were insured? How many people would buy a home if there was no insurance available, and if you thought that home burned to the ground, your savings would be lost forever? How many of us would venture very far from our homes, go on vacation, eat in restaurants, take medication, get on airplanes, go to the doctor, or even go to work every day? Insurance is one of the most fundamental industries to driving how we live, how we work, and how we interact, and it's one of the most fundamental industries that you are going to need to move this movement forward. Examples of some of the kind of insurance: commercial insurance, auto, homeowners, disability, and life, the product I sell, are all products that are part of what make our economy run. They are fundamental to the framework of a sustainability model. Now, some people have said that some form of insurance goes back to the beginning of humanity in the form of people helping each other, getting together and pooling their risk, which is really what insurance is. But the first insurance company in the United States wrote fire insurance in 1732. Benjamin Franklin helped to popularize and make standard the practice of insurance, particularly against fire, in the form of perpetual insurance. In 1752, he founded the Philadelphia Contributorship for the insurance of houses from loss by fire. His company was the first to make contributions toward fire prevention. Not only did his company warn against certain fire hazards, it refused to insure certain buildings where the risk of fire was too great, such as all wooden houses. So you can see in this small example how insurance can be an integral part in choices that consumers make, products that are selected. Dean Pearl was saying that the new library is constructed of certain products that's consistent with the mission of this campus. So imagine a country where building standards and materials that were used had to meet certain sustainability standards, or your home could not be insured. And if your home couldn't be insured, you won't get a mortgage. So that small step could completely transform the building industry in the United States. So that's how important insurance could be to getting this model pushed forward. And what's really exciting in the new insurance models, and I like to think that we're progressive at our company, is that we're building those new products with sustainability in mind. We're thinking about how resources are used, what seems to work, and what will be regulated. Insurance is going to need to continue to redesign itself so that it will be able to help make its contribution to a sustainable world. At its center, the new normal will now focus around individual accountability, which I know you all believe in, because I know you believe that in a model of sustainability, it's really founded on individual accountability, but in a very different way than we've seen in the past. Resetting expectations differently and redefining how risks are managed and who manages them. A current example is the recent TARP funds, or Trouble Asset Relief Program. Has anybody heard about the TARP funds? No? The TARP funds, the bailout money for the big financial institutions, those were called the TARP funds. And there's been a lot of controversy about those. A lot of Americans are angry and they're saying, why was my money used to bail out these institutions? Well, in effect, our leaders made a decision to insure several of our major corporations through the use of these funds. That's a form of insurance. As taxpayers, when we pay taxes, we're paying a form of insurance. To insure what? We want to be certain services and infrastructure resources are available. But what we aren't really focusing on is, in fact, we are managing all kinds of risks. So every time you pay 1 penny in taxes, you're contributing to a fund that really ensures certain activities in our society. So the future holds an opportunity for all of us to look at what we really believe. And I had a challenge tonight in writing this speech. At first, when Mary and I talked about it, I was encouraged by her to talk about insurance and sustainability, which is an interesting topic to Mary and me. And then somebody here from the university called them and said, boy, that's a boring topic. So my assistant, no, it's okay. I won't tell you who. Could Vikki change the topic? And I said, well, I think the flyer's already gone out. My secretary cooperated with the person from the campus. She said, your topic is new now. Your topic is going to be, what do you really believe? Because I'm actually a motivational speaker. And I said, well, you can't do that because insurance and sustainability is important. But she said, I think you should really talk about what you really believe. So what I've done is, I think that what I talked about around sustainability insurance, really the foundation of it is your belief system. If I didn't think the way that I think, I wouldn't be running the company the way I'm running it. I wouldn't be making the decisions the way that I make them. So I'm really going to flip this over a little bit and talk about your belief system, because it's important for you to understand that not only what you learn here, but what you believe will be fundamental to making change. So I think the future holds an opportunity for us to look at what we really believe. By your participation this evening, you are also saying that you want to actively engage in a sustainable life and be conscious about your personal future. This is important because this is the foundation of the formula that will create a future and a world we will all be delighted to inhabit. The Dalai Lama in his book, The Art of Happiness, says, "I believe the very purpose of life is to seek happiness." He goes on to explain that seeking happiness means eliminating those factors that lead to suffering and therefore cultivating the factors that bring happiness. He says that happiness is determined more by what you think than by what's happening to you. According to him, it requires discipline regarding your belief system. Right now, with the economic challenges and the uncertainty we face, we are reluctant to focus on the pain and the suffering and the belief system that we have that accompanies it. It's easier for us to talk about money, profit, loss, but we really should be talking about the heart of what makes things tick, what makes the trains run on time, and what makes it all worthwhile, and that's all of us, people. Numbers and measures do not get at the core of what people really believe in, what makes people happy and successful. And even more, do not in and of themselves create growing, vibrant, and meaningful environments. A balance sheet does not accompany or sustainable life make. Until we, all of us, get back to basics, return to deeply considering people and what they believe, whether it's students, faculty, customers, or employees, we'll never find our way out of the current crisis. So you see, I believe that everything we do, including insurance, is an important part of our model of sustainability, but it starts with us, how we think and what we believe. That is what helped bring me a sustainability mindset to running an insurance company. It's important that whatever you do, you make sure you're conscious and aware of your mindset. There are 4 major tenets that you might consider as a part of your personal model. The 4 tenets are: start with your dreams and beliefs, meaning is what matters, lead by example, and embrace change. These 4 principles may sound intangible and soft, but I propose to you they're the foundation of what you must do in order to achieve results we're looking for, a sustainable world. Without an environment with a wide range of personal choice, dreams and beliefs are completely out of reach. People are usually very unhappy and lack creativity and initiative in an environment where choices are limited. Without insurance, our choices become very limited. Misuse of our natural resources likewise limits our choice. In the current poor economic climate, the tendency is to either thoughtlessly or based upon fear, fall back into some old models that we have around command and control. This model is very limited and limits our choice and our creativity. So you young people who are here getting an education, it's really on you to make sure that based upon what we're going through now, we don't slip back and we don't go backwards. We need to go forward. I believe newer insurance models can use incentives and personal accountability to replace sanctions and motivate action and encourage prudent risk-taking. Jim Collins, author of Good to Great, says, connection and commitment to something that's rooted in freedom of choice rather than coercion and control is where we need to be. When people are free to make choices based upon their beliefs and dreams and align these with global and community objectives, communities grow and thrive. When people have choices to act on their beliefs and dreams, they find meaning, and the miracle of creativity and innovation can emerge. My second point is meaning matters. I've fought with people about this my whole life. I'm glad to finally be vindicated by newer thinking that says there's something more important than money in the bottom line, that we all have something important to contribute when we focus on meaning. And that's what I love about what you're doing at this campus, because you're not here because of the bottom line. You're here because meaning is important to you. And no matter how small this campus is, you're really going to have a big impact on our world. In fact, Malcolm Gladwell in his new book, Outliers, demonstrates that the secret to extraordinary performance and success is not about intelligence or capability. he says that it's about meaning. Individuals must find meaning in what they do, and that's what you're about here. Of course, meaning is different from person to person, and that's a good thing. I'm sure that you'll agree you're much more than your education, your experience, your credentials. There's something unique about you. And that's what's exciting about creating a world, a sustainable world, and that you're going to be at the heart of that. This is because ideas, plans, and solutions will emerge from the wide range of what is meaningful to a broad diversity of people. And we all know that our survival and the sustainability of our planet at its core is important to everyone. Remember, I talked about we're driven by our DNA to survive. And even though somebody doesn't look like they really support the movement, at their core they really do, it's going to be incumbent upon you and the other people who come from this school and others like it around the country to help us all understand those models. The next point is easy, lead by example. I'm confident all of you are the kind of people here who lead by example. Through everything we do, we must believe in the principles of sustainability. And that's really about teaching and learning. Leading by example means understanding that what we do is observed, copied, and built upon. This is a form of teaching. Leading by example is also learning on the part of the leader. It's active listening, collaboration, and curiosity. People will not only act on what they believe, they will also act upon what you believe. And the final point, embracing change, and that's what your movement is all about. We have to first believe in our vision and in the fundamental good of people. At our company, our motto is, everyone in the organization is smart. We all have different but equally important roles. But we are where we are simply because our lives worked out differently. We had different opportunities and we made different choices. None is better than the other. As a result, our company mission is, we have a deep belief in human potential. To embrace the change required by the sustainability movement, we must believe in the innate capability of people and commit ourselves to teaching and learning. Harvard professor Rosabeth Moss-Kanter in her book Confidence explains the key messaging to be used. We must believe that continuity breeds faith during adversity. There will be enough time, we will get through this, our plan is a good one. During these times, there couldn't be a better prescription. Right now, it's difficult to plan, it's even harder to make projections, but we can have faith in the future and we can believe in it. To embrace change in the current climate, we must provide continuity, vision, leadership, which fosters belief. In 1999, my company truly suffered from low self-esteem. The employees did not believe the company was capable of reversing the years of decline. They had a very dim view of the future. The company infrastructure processes were 2 decades old, woefully inadequate, but we made people our first priority. And what we're facing in terms of our ecosystems, the environment, and what you're doing at this campus, there are a lot of dim outlooks about our future, but you're the ones that are going to bring the belief system that's going to make a difference. We did a lot of small things to engage people, to make them understand that they mattered, that they had choices, and that the new environment in the company would give them the opportunity to grow. We invested in them in a way that encouraged their personal investment and participation. And those are 2 key words. That as leaders of the sustainability movement, you can help people see that their personal investment and their participation is needed and it's wanted. We focused on the belief systems inside our organization and demonstrated to people that we believed in them, our customers, and in the future. We spent a lot of time on the mission of the company, what we believe in, and making sure our actions were consistent with our words. We still make our belief system and how it shows up in the workplace a top priority. Over the last 11 years in our annual employee opinion survey, the mission of the company consistently ranks as the top reason why people work for the company. And I can tell you, in most companies, the top reasons are the benefit plan, my salary, and mission is somewhere, I don't know, 10, 11, or 12. So when we create an environment where people have choices, can act on their personal beliefs and dreams, they will find meaning. Once they find meaning, they will do things they would never think possible. And for us to accomplish what you believe in, we have to get there. Before I got into the industry that I'm in now, I thought it couldn't be a more boring topic, just like the person who called from the campus and said, can we have a different topic? That's what I thought when I first got in the industry. But the reality is, it's one of the most exciting industries because it's an industry that holds the key to our ability to be free, to self-actualize, to create, to invent, to step outside our comfort zone and the worlds we know, to create new processes, new systems, new infrastructure, and a new world that will serve not just our generation, but generations to come. Does that sound similar to why you're here? Because that's what you think you're going to be doing? So that's the kind of transformation that has to be brought to everything that we do. And that's why I believe you're going to be at the center of making that happen. Not just in the things that are obvious like the environment, but in everything that we do. So as you see, insurance and sustainability are inextricably linked. Because at its core, sustainability is not just survival, but it's thriving, so we can thrive for generations to come. One of the challenges of the sustainability industry, and before it, its cousin, the environmental industry, was not doing a good job of tying its future to the fundamentals that underpin our economy. But we are tied together. So whatever you do, whatever industry, wherever you go after your education, understand that it's a part of an ecosystem. It's an important part of our future and what will create a sustainable world. You can only have an impact if you get in touch with what you believe and you act on what you believe, because we need each and every person, every man, woman, and child. We need your hands, your intellect, and your hearts. So let's ask ourselves the important questions. Do you believe in a sustainable world where everyone takes personal accountability and achieves self-actualization? Do you believe you're a teacher and a leader? Do you believe that freedom of choice is really possible? Do you believe that you are more than your credentials and experience? Do you believe that you can help create a future we all want to inhabit? What do you really believe? You see, at the end of the day, it's all about what we believe. Start with your dreams and beliefs. Know that meaning matters. Lead by example, and embrace change. Don't be afraid, and certainly don't give up. Do it for yourself and for all of those who will follow us. The very purpose of life is our personal search for meaning and happiness. Let's work together to create that wonderful future that we all want to inhabit. This is the core of a sustainable future. You. Thank you.
When you mentioned Benjamin Franklin saying that some buildings were uninsurable, it occurred to me that insurance companies are the truth tellers in our society. There's no wishful thinking when the numbers are crunched, and in fact, it was really insurance companies that were the first to incorporate climate change models in insurance plans. You know, you could have wishful thinking that that flimsy house on the coastline was going to weather the next hurricane, but the insurance companies were looking at these models too. And so it just makes me realize that the insurance industry has that power to influence choices people make. And I'm wondering to what extent the insurance companies feel in a society like ours, you're talking about freedom of choice through insurance.
Right.
But it really it comes at some cost to people who want to
do things differently. Well, it's a very delicate and complicated question because it's chicken and egg. Insurance companies are regulated, so much of their policy and what they do has to stay within the lines of that regulation. So that's why I say it's really a delicate interplay. You don't want insurance companies to force people into things that aren't good, and they could do that. You want to use them as an appropriate tool to help people make the good choices and expand choices. So that's why I think it's important what you're doing here at this campus is educating people, first of all, in a liberal arts tradition, and layering over the sustainability model, so they will bring this thinking to whatever they do, whether it's an insurance company, whether it's in the legislature passing legislation. So I think you have to look company by company, and we have to get leaders in place that are paying attention to public policy and, you know, what is freeing for people. And I'm optimistic about the future, and that most future business leaders are driven by, more mission driven than they are bottom line driven, and believe that with the right mission, with the right outlook, creating more choice for consumers, doing what's good for the environment will result in the bottom line.
Others with a question? I guess I have another one, which is one of the questions that I want to ask is about how your turnaround. I mean, you just said very modestly and quickly, well, you invested in people. What does that mean, really? I mean, you know, here you are with declining sales. The infrastructure is terrible. You didn't go about like hiring consultants to bring in the best software. First, you focused on the people. So how did you find within a demoralized group of people who thought they were incompetent, the competence to pull the company out and into increased sales? What kind of training programs, what kind of, what method did you use to reinvigorate people?
Well, obviously we use some training, but the other, it's kind of a counterintuitive example. It's really walking around. It was talking to people. It was having a lot more meetings, building conference rooms in the company we didn't have. You know, we took offices and just took the desks out and made conference rooms, so we encouraged people to get together and meet and talk to each other. We did take one room that had junk stored in it, and we put in desks and computers and started training people. But mainly it was walking around. I started January 25th, 1999, and Valentine's Day was a couple weeks away. So I went to like Dwayne Reed and bought a bunch of Valentine candy and put it out in our break room, small things like that. So it was a combination of things you'd find in a textbook and just my own, you know, sense as a person to reach out to people and continually repeat the message that you matter. And that's what I really want to say to your students here is that, you know, you may have people laugh at what you believe in or tell you it's not going to work, but stay at it. Because my management methods over time, over history, you know, were often laughed at, or people said that they wouldn't work. Because I did what, in many ways, after, on top of my training, what came to me intuitively. So I think our intuition and what guides us in our core is really critical. Your education is one informing source of how you make decisions. The other is who you are as a person, and just bringing your own common sense and judgment, you know, to the process. Did that answer it?
Well, it actually makes me want to ask a question to the student, because if you're a business student here at a campus dedicated to sustainability, I'm sure your parents are saying, what the heck are you doing? You know, go to business school, and yet you just heard someone who's the CEO of a big company say that you're really on the right track looking at sustainability. And I'd just like to hear from a student who is focused on sustainability in business to tell us what motivated you to choose this rather than a mainstream business college. Gosh, shy guys.
Well, let me ask another question. I don't know if you came to get brownie points, your professor asked you to come, why you came here, but why did you, does anyone want to share why you came to this lecture, and was it consistent with what you thought, or, you know, what did you think coming in? Just, we want to hear the voice of a student, please. Yes, thank you.
I'm a freshman here, so this is my second semester here. My reason for coming was because I figure that sustainability is going to blow up, and also it's just...
When you say blow up, what do you mean?
I feel like it's becoming, everyone's becoming more conscious of it. Everyone.
Oh, it's going to explode,
yeah.
Right. Oh, good, yes.
And I just think it's good practice. I think we should all, you know, be focusing on, well, what exactly are we doing to the earth, what we can do to reduce it, and what can we do to make everything better. So
right.
That was my main reason for coming here, along with my class size. But I just haven't made it to the business program, so I haven't taken the business classes yet. But I would like to try and improve like how people look at sustainability and try and apply it in different ways. Sort of.
Right, and was that what I talked about? Was that consistent for you to like an industry like insurance, which is counterintuitive, that it would have to do with sustainability, but it really does tie.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Well, we know people who are in this area are quiet. You're not a boisterous group, right? Well, I want to invite any of you to visit us at 460 West 34th Street. We call ourselves a Miracle on 34th Street in Manhattan, just to see kind of our company at work. Most people love it when they visit us. We're a very different company, one of the most diverse companies in America. 60% of our board are women, and we speak 22 languages in our company. It's really quite an extraordinary organization, and it runs without me. Yes?
I asked something. I want to talk about your concept about embracing change.
Yes.
Conceptually, it's a very attractive theory.
Mm-hmm.
I find that unconsciously, many in an organization at all levels resist change without meaning to.
Right.
And through the course of your career, especially now in a leadership position over a large organization, are there any secrets to quietly directing people into the sense of embracing change rather than resisting it, so that the progress that's so important that
right.
the progress you've achieved
right.
is really sustainable.
Right.
Sustainability is a policy that reflects change.
Absolutely.
And yet to embrace it is
right.
not just to live with it and to go towards it, but to actually embrace it is what the key to success is, as you said.
Absolutely.
How do you get people to embrace change, and how did you embrace change? And can you identify any benchmarks that you would like that?
Well, you know, everyone, I think, struggles with change, and there's something in us, you know, I think it's a nesting instinct, for example, that makes us want to seek, you know, a safety zone.
Exactly.
So first of all, you said, how do you quietly? That's one thing you don't do. You're not quiet about change. And that's one thing I want to share with the students here. It's really important not to be quiet about what you believe in. And in our organization, what I've done over time and what my mentors have helped me do is to recognize that no one can bring you along with change. It's a awakening transformational process for you. So what I do inside my company is I try to live my truth and encourage everybody to live their truth and support people through change, reflect it back to them and see, I understand you're struggling and it's difficult, but underneath that, accept that everybody is intelligent, capable of managing themselves. Everyone is an adult. We talk about, you know, we don't want any paternalistic models in our company. So I'm not gonna, we talk about, for example, we can only inspire, we can never motivate, because motivation comes from within. So what we try to do is support people who go through change, and also if there is going to be change, we share it right away. We hold back very little. We promote complete transparency in the organization. And if our country around environmental issues had more of that kind of heart, we wouldn't be where we are. Because oftentimes policymakers or decision makers believe that the American people can't handle the facts. Well, that's why people are angry now. We held back a lot of the facts. Now the facts have come out. Once it's all built up, people are angry. So the best way to manage change is to let it happen, not be quiet about it, be the first one to say change is coming. You know, don't shoot the messenger, but it's coming. And by the way, change is good. And don't put your head in the sand and pretend that things are not changing. People who say, you know, I've created a stable environment for myself, they don't actually understand they're changing, and they change all the time. So go with it. I don't know if that answered it, but
definitely.
And it's not an easy answer. It's not clean. It's messy. And that's another thing. As Americans, we want everything to be clean. Now that's one of the problems with sustainability and the environmental issues. Is everybody wants everything bleached white. They want it to look a certain way. They don't understand what it costs and what clean really is. I love the guy who founded Seventh Generation. I heard him on PBS talk about what clean is and how most Americans don't understand. They're polluting their homes with things that they think are making the home clean. So it's that, you know, it's trying to create what we think is an orderly environment that's actually toxic, and getting people more comfortable about actually what's natural for humans. So I'm excited about what you guys are going to come up with, because, you know, when I'm really out there, really retired, and you're running the world, you know, you're going to create a better world where I can be more natural as a human being.
So embracing change
Yeah.
has to do with attitude.
Attitude. And
changing attitude to accept it and then embrace it.
Yeah, you know, my son is 21 years old, and he's the biggest pusher of change for me, because when I go home, that's when I can go against all the principles I'm telling you about and get locked into, you know, things staying the same. And he says, Mom, you're played out and corny. I told him I'm going to get a t-shirt that says played out and corny, because he's always pushing me. Things aren't that way anymore. Challenge yourself. That's not the way things are. So I'm very excited, and he's preparing me to get ready for all the things, the wonderful things you're going to do in the world to free us up, because I honestly believe this movement will free people. It really will be freeing. And you're going to be the ones that will help people see that we'll actually be better off with a simpler world, with less space. We're animals, right? I know you all know that. We're animals. And a lot of the stuff actually isn't good for us as animals. You know, we don't need that much space. We actually like to live in packs. We don't like to live alone. We were talking at dinner, the predominant household is people living alone. That's counterintuitive for us as we're designed in our DNA. We're designed to live together. So those are the things that you're going to be driving in many ways through public policies, laws, businesses that you start, decisions that you make, you know, products you design, whatever you're going to be doing, you're going to be at the vanguard, and I'm excited about it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.